the Chicago Bears hosted former Kansas City Chiefs cornerback Nazeeh Johnson in for a workout and visit. And considering the Chicago Bears' need and the pass rush, why are they hosting yet another cornerback, one of their deepest positions? We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, Matt Bowen has named the Bears as a potential landing spot for veteran defensive end Von Miller. We'll talk a little bit about what that could mean for the Chicago Bears and the Cam Jordan of it all as well, with some Bears fans just being a little bit weird. We're also going to talk about Kyle Long and his comments in regards to Caleb Williams, giving him serious praise for what he means to this franchise. We'll talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go to get into this content for today, y'all. The Chicago Bears have hosted Nazeeh Johnson in for a workout. This is a cornerback who played with the Kansas City Chiefs before he visited Halas Hall to come out for a workout. Now, of course, Ryan Poles does have familiarity with him, with Kansas City Chiefs scouting and their development pipeline as well. So this may be, once again, an example of Ryan Poles doing a favor for somebody, and I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but this could be Ryan Poles, somebody that he has connections with, to bring in here and see like what he can possibly bring for the Chicago Bears. I think the more interesting part about this all is that the Chicago Bears cornerback situation doesn't really need anything really, right? Like, and for Nazeeh Johnson as well, like, not to say that this guy is bad by any stretch of the imagination, because he's not. He's played, since 2002, he skipped 2023, 2024 and 25 with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, I look at this kid and I say this, like if you need more depth, if it ends up just being a training camp body, like the Bears, to me, and this is just my own personal thought on it, like, you do not want to have any opportunity for you to go into the season with your cornerback room as injured as what it was last year. So if this is just another camp body to kind of take some snaps away from some other players and stuff like that, we'll see, right? Johnson is a former 7th-round pick in 2022 in the NFL draft, right? He came out of Marshall. This guy was a special teams contributor as well. He in their run to the Super Bowl as well. He totaled 8 tackles in 11 regular season games. He missed the entire 2023 season with a torn ACL, returned that following year. He played a larger role in the defense in that year, and in 16 games, he recorded 56 total tackles, 3 for a loss, 1 sack, and 3 pass breakups. So there is something to be said about how he can help with this one, right? Injuries did limit him last season to only 2 games in 2025, so he's looking to bounce back in 2026. And so now the Bears could give him an opportunity. Like, we've seen the Bears give players opportunity before, and you can never really have too much depth, right? And with how important the defensive backfield is to Dennis Allen and the scheme, something I've been nailing home for you guys basically all season, right? We'll see. And with Zah Frazier being released, you have an opportunity now for just a little bit extra depth. I do think Malik Muhammad is going to make his case to get into that a lot when it comes down to it. And so we'll see. Now, for what it's worth, he's also visited the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles as well. So it's not like all the chips or eggs are in the Chicago Bears basket, but I think when you look at this, it comes down to, it could just end up being a camp body. It could just be a depth visit. And I'll say this, like, won't count it completely out that he doesn't push for a roster spot. Now, will he have a big role on the team? Ideally, no, right? And no knock to him. Ideally, if the Bears even do sign him, it's more special teams with maybe some depth positions because of how many defensive backs that Dennis Allen likes out there. But you would like to think this cornerback room between Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, of course, Malik Muhammad coming in here as well. Like, you would like to think between those guys, like, those guys are going to get the lion's share, because you have to make decisions on those. You have to make decisions long-term with Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith. You have to see what Malik Muhammad has. Can he actually be another lockdown corner for you where he can be your cornerback too, right? You have those things. So, if Nazeeh Johnson does come in here and gets a role on this team, it shouldn't be a big one. But then again, hey, never look to count somebody out. People didn't think Nashawn Wright was going to be the player that he ended up being for the Chicago Bears last year, right? So you never know with bringing in a veteran and having a guy out there that has contributed to a Super Bowl winning team before, if he's going to be able to come in there and push. And I don't think there's anything about bringing in competition for any guys either. That is what training camp is about. That's what this part of the season is about. It's about bringing in competition so you can have guys battling it out for everything. But even some of the guys I didn't mention that are still, cornerbacks on this roster. Jalen Jones is still on this roster as well, right? So there's going to be a lot of competition in the cornerback room. This is one of the most important positions, by the way, that Dennis Allen likes to scheme and use his cornerback position. So having more bodies in there is not a negative, but we'll end up seeing what happens in regards to that. But from one veteran acquisition that the Chicago Bears could make, and we'll see the results of that visit if it leads to anything. The Bears have also been mentioned as a perfect landing spot for Von Miller. Now, by the way people have talked about the Cam Jordan of it all, I get why people do not, for some reason, people look at veterans and oh, he's too old. Let's not bring him in here. And at this point in the offseason, right? You're not getting anybody young. Let's be clear. You're not getting anybody young. And let's not act like older veterans still can't help you. Right now, I'll say this. If the Bears do decide to make a pivot and bring in a guy like Von Miller, it'd have to be situational, right? I think that's a thing there. But for what it's worth, this was the quote that was said in regards to that. It says, Miller, a former second overall pick in 2011, spent his first 11 seasons with the Denver Broncos, where he was one of the NFL's most dominant pass rushers. He also had stops with LA Rams, the Buffalo Bills, and most recently the Washington Commanders. Miller has totaled 138 and a half career sacks, the current active league leader, and even at 37, he's still shown he has something left in the tank. Von Miller, even if he's a player that you only use on clear pass downs, this upcoming season, because that's probably where he is at this point. He still played all 17 games last year. He had 9 sacks. He had 6 sacks the year before that, playing 13 games. This is a guy that, if healthy, he can get it done. Now, with that said, you don't want to rely heavily on that. And that's what I said, the same thing about Cam Jordan or any of these veteran old player options. It's just about raising the floor of your team. And it's not like I don't think the Bears are going to make this move immediately or anything like that. I think it ultimately comes down to what they see in training camp, what they see in those places, how confident they feel in their pass rush, and if they feel that they need just a little extra security blanket. And that's what these veterans are and would be. And I'm not mad at all if the Bears bring in Von Miller. I think, would you want to rely on a veteran who's gotten it done consistently over his career in multitude roles? Or do you want to rely on a motivated Dayo Odeyingbo? What do you want to do there, right? I think it ultimately comes down to, Austin Booker has to show in training camp the confidence that and build the confidence from Dennis Allen and that defensive team that he's going to be able to be consistent and stay healthy enough to provide hopefully another double-digit sack guy to go on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. At that point, whether it's Shemar Turner who's returning from an ACL, Dayo Odeyingbo who's returning from an Achilles, if you do go out and get Cam Jordan or Von Miller, a veteran, it's up to those guys to supplement what he can do, right? And so Matt Bowen here bringing up that the Bears could be a good team fit for Von Miller, it makes sense. Von Miller at this stage of his career is somebody that he's a tool, and I don't, that sounds very bad, but look at it this way. It's a tool that you can go into your bullpen with and bring out in clear situations, whether Montez needs a break, whether Austin Booker needs a break, whether it's a long drive, or you just, because again, Dennis Allen likes to get very creative. He'll drop a defensive lineman back to a linebacker spot and then have another edge out there. So what if you have some scenario where on a specific, the Bears need a big third down stop and it's a clear passing down, you drop Austin Booker back to the linebacker, you bring in Von Miller, have Montez Sweat out there on the other side, and you can get some consistent pressure on the quarterback. That's what this is about. It's about creating the opportunity. For people that say things and hear the veterans like, oh, I'm good on a 37-year-old. Okay, cool. Then rely on Dayo Odeyingbo because he's younger. How confident do you feel in that? It's just about bringing in a safety net, a safety blanket, so to say, of somebody that is gonna have a clear, strengths and somebody that you can bet on in key moments. And that's what this is about. If the Bears were to do something like this or bring in Cam Jordan, it's just about those veterans who are out there who aren't going to have the biggest or larger market. Bring them in there. And if nothing else, they can provide some leadership in that locker room, which the Bears do need. And I love having veterans from a leadership perspective as well in the locker room. So, sometimes I say this, and this is when I say things like fan brain, right? Sometimes fans feel like if it's not a big swing, it means that it's not a good move. And sometimes fans will overlook things that will help your team just because it's not a big splash. And I'm so glad that that's not the way that NFL front offices can operate. You have to be able to try to get your team something that it's missing. Von Miller, Cam Jordan, they have some options to bring something that this Bears team is missing and help provide a little bit of help there. And that's really all it'll be about. So I'm not mad at the proposition of Von Miller coming to this team. I don't think anything like this is going to happen soon. I think the Bears are going to give every opportunity for these defensive linemen on this team to show and prove what they can bring this year and provide confidence. I also think what you heard from Dennis Allen himself say, this is about also for us, it's about coaching better, how we can get better out of these players because of us being better as coaches, teaching fundamentals better, doing those type of things. That's what it comes down to. And I think, that's a mixture of those two things are going to be. You want some internal development being the reason why you can get over a hump. But also, there are times and opportunities where your coaching can help you get over that hump too. And that's what it seems like this team is going to be about. The pass rush is one of the biggest concerns that even the most glowing people on what the Chicago Bears can be this season, they understand that there is concerns about the pass rush. I don't think the Bears, unless we see an instrumental leap from some of these players, are going to be able to have the kind of step up that we can turn into one of the best pass rushes in the game of football. But I do think we have some talent here to where we can be improved. And between that and the scheme and those type of things that we do, you can see an improvement here from the Chicago Bears in the pass rush. So, like I say all that to say this: don't overlook or don't have your nose so far turned up that you will look something that can help your team in the mouth, in the face, and say no, just because it's not a splash move. Because you as a fan only are trained and only think that big splash moves are the only way to help a team, and that's not right. Veterans can help, especially veterans that are still motivated, that has still been productive. Nobody's sitting there saying, let's bring in a veteran who sucked for the last 3 years and hope that they're going to regain some glory. Guys like Von Miller, guys like Cam Johnson or Cam Jordan, these are guys that have been still very productive at whatever age they're at, right? And so guys like that, I want on my team. I want guys that can be productive. That is what the name of the game is about. It's not about you needing the shiny new toy all the time. It's about what can come in and get the job done. These veterans can get the job done. They've done it for the entirety of their careers in different spots, for some in the same spots for like a guy like Cam Jordan, right? But they've gotten it done. So don't overlook those guys just because they're not the shiny new toy. Let me get off my soapbox at this point now. But let's go into it. I want to talk about some of the comments that Kyle Long made in regards to Caleb Williams, because I think it's really glowing, and I love that more and more people are starting to speak out about what exactly Caleb Williams can turn into. He said this: I think that watching him as a young player deal with the media reminds me a lot of Sir Nick Faldo sitting down with Tiger Woods. I believe in his first Masters, he said, "What are you looking to shoot out there?" And he said, "I'm looking to win this whole thing." And he said, "You'll learn, young man." And he said, "Well, if I'm not looking to win, why the hell am I here?" I love hearing that, right? He said, "Who does not go for the gap is no longer a racing driver." Caleb Williams is a race car driver, and I can't wait to watch the guy mature in this league. We're lucky to have him. The star power is heavy in that NFC North, and I'm glad that somebody like Kyle Long said something like this, because I do think there is, not even just externally, right? I expect at this point people who aren't Bears fans, people who are whatever, to have nothing but doubt when it comes to the Chicago Bears. I've been in this community. I've seen the way the Chicago Bears have been covered, when they've been good, when they've been bad. It's nothing but doubt for the Bears all the time, right? And there was some time where there was some criticism from some of the Bears legends as well, whether it was Justin Fields, whether it was Caleb Williams. And now it starts seeing like last season, I think, did a lot for the impression that it left with people who have competed in this league, warriors in this league, when they saw Caleb Williams do the things that he did, right? The way that Caleb Williams conducts himself. You have people that are worried about whether he paints his nails or whatever, and the thing that I got is, why are you worried about another man's hand so much? But the things that Caleb Williams has continued to do, it's not just about breaking franchise records, right? Breaking Bears franchise records as a quarterback is great, make no mistake about it, but we know that we haven't had the most productive quarterbacks in our history, right? And I think that not a lot of people are giving Caleb Williams the true credit he deserves, because they're more so looking at what he doesn't do. And I get it. What he doesn't do stands out. The completion percentage definitely stands out amongst other quarterbacks that threw for almost 4,000 yards. It makes sense there. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams is above criticism, because he is not, right? But what Caleb Williams has shown is that he can make every possible throw that's needed to do on the field. He can do that. That's it. He's made some throws that top 5 quarterbacks in this league can't throw. And the thing that I keep going back to Caleb Williams that gives me so much faith and confidence in him is this. The things that he needs to tighten up the most on are the give-me's, are the small things. The things that not many people can do, that they aren't talented or don't have the arm strength or whatever else to do, those are the things that he does almost more consistent. I will trust somebody who can make the type of highlight plays that Caleb Williams is make to tighten up the small things more than I would than somebody who lives with making the small moves but can't make the big plays, right? So, that's the type of big game mentality that Caleb Williams has. He came into this league with the mentality that he wanted to be one of the greatest. You have to go out there and continually show that if you want to live up to that, because nobody's giving you shit, especially not being a Chicago Bears quarterback. There's nothing that's going to be given to you. Even the things that you do earn and take, even some of those things aren't going to be given to you. You're not going to be given credit for because you're the Chicago Bears quarterback. And right or wrong, that is just how this team has been covered. That's how this team has been done its whole entire existence. It's never going to stop now, right? And so, as you look at Caleb, it just comes down to do it on the football field. That's it. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's get it done. Let's show and prove on the football field. And then at that point, if they want to hate, let them hate, man. Let the wins stack up. That's all I can say in regards to that. It's nothing more than I love than a Packers fan, for example, hating on the Chicago Bears because who has more playoff wins in the last 2 years? I'm just saying, right? Like, it's those type of things. When you can back up whatever shit on by the play on the football field, it's the great divider. So Caleb is a warrior. He's a battler. I'm so glad that he is the franchise quarterback here because, even the people that calling for Tyson Bagent, those voices have gotten a lot less over the last few years because it's just narrative at that point, right? And many people know that that's what it is. So, I'm glad to hear that Kyle Long, says some glowing things in regards to Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb Williams, continue to grow as a player, continue to grow as a leader. Go out there and show the world what you're capable of this year offensively. And let's see this Chicago Bears offense truly take the step from being fun last season and albeit like a little bit cardiac and be dominant and truly be elite this upcoming year. Because if that happens, it's going to silence a lot of the doubters. And as you guys know, I'm a pretty petty individual. So it gives me an opportunity to be petty with some Packers fans as well. With that said, last time before we get up out of here, Ian Rappaport reported this. I do expect in the coming weeks and months to have some finality in the Chicago Bears stadium situation. We all know this drama around the Chicago Bears stadium has gone on way too long, longer than most of us would want to go. Are they going to Indiana? Are they going to Arlington? Are they staying in Chicago? Whatever it is. At the end of the day, I just want this shit done, right? It would hurt for the Chicago Bears to not be in the state of Illinois anymore. It would hurt for them to go to that, right? But at the end of the day, I look at it and I say this, like, the state of Illinois had every opportunity to get this done if they want to get it done with, and we'll see, right? I do think this, like Brendan Moore of Capital News Illinois said this in regards to Pritzker. Said he has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago. So that's problematic. I would love for them to be in the city, but we are 3 years in now, and he still has no plan. And that's the reality of it, right? I think when you look at this overall, the mayor of Chicago sucks. And at the end of the day, I think that, the governor, J.B. Pritzker, speaking out in regards to this is really good. Mayor Brandon Johnson needs to get his shit together. You want the Bears to stay in Chicago? You can't. What do you think is going to happen via hope? Like, at some point, something just needs to get done. The people of Chicago are ready to know where their team's going to be. The Chicago Bears are ready to start planning their future in one way or another. And that's just the reality of it. Like, it would suck for a lot of people, for them to grow up, their kids to grow up and not know the Chicago Bears to actually play in Chicago or in the state of Illinois. But the reality of it is, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? The Chicago Bears initially all they wanted was tax breaks. That's all they wanted. They were ready to fully fund the stadium by themselves. You couldn't get that done. Then you wanted them to stay downtown. They said, okay, but now we want more than just tax breaks. We want you to contribute if you want us to stay downtown and not develop the property that we built. And you sat here, right? At the end of the day, like, this is all so much above what any of us have control over. And it's like, I'm somebody who I like to talk football. I hate talking narrative sometimes. I love just talking football. That's my thing. That's what I love. That's what I do. But at the end of the day, I'll say this. Wherever the Chicago Bears play, it's not going to change me being a Chicago Bears fan. So the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, whatever else they want, that like, Bears fans are Bears fans. Many of us have lived, breathed, and died with this team for years. We have been generational Chicago Bears fans because the Bears definitely ain't won no Super Bowl in my lifetime, right? So you know how that goes for many more Bears fans. Get your shit together and keep the Bears in Illinois. That's all I can say. And if not, guess what? I'll be riding my ass over to Indiana to watch the Chicago Bears play. Gladly. I'm still going to support my team. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to hear from you guys down below on everything. How you feeling about everything going on with this Bears team? Where are you at with it? Let me know that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.